Everybody good? Chapter 1. So, what is the name of this course? Anatomy and Physiology, which means what? The parts of the human body, because it's human anatomy and physiology, and how they what? Work. So, anatomy is the parts, physiology is how those parts work. Did you know that definition? Good. So you got a lot of stuff in this book in the beginning. But let's jump past it. And you should, before class, another hint, study hint I'm going to give you. Before class, you should kind of read the chapter. So you kind of know what we're going to talk about. Who's the highlighter queen or king in the class? Raise your hand. Have all the colors? Yeah. Put the highlighter away when you first read the chapter. I don't want you to memorize the chapter. I just want you to read it. So read it like you're reading the newspaper or People magazine, okay? Then come to class and we're going to talk about it. And you're going to go, huh, that sounds familiar. After class, when you go and get those nice notes, then go in study the chapter, okay? But if you read it before you come to class, it might be very helpful and help you with understanding the material a little bit better. So, we know the definition of anatomy and physiology. Well, what are some of the topics we're going to discuss in anatomy and physiology? Well, we do macroscopic anatomy. What's that? Macro means big. So I can see it with what? My naked eye. Macroscopic anatomy or gross anatomy, not because it's disgusting. Well, it can be disgusting sometimes, but it's big. We're going to talk about regional terms and the language of anatomy, which is important for you to understand so you don't get lost when you do what? Read this book. Because this book is written in that language. So we're going to learn the language of anatomy right in chapter 1. We have to sometimes know what we're talking about and where it is, so we're also going to throw in there some regional terms of anatomy as well. Systemic anatomy, what's that? Systemic. That word sounds familiar. Body systems. So we're going to talk about different systems that keep you going and help to maintain you as an organism in this class. Microscopic anatomy. What are we looking at? Too small for the naked eye, usually. Be specific. We're talking about a living human or cells. So cytology and histology are studying things at a cellular level. Yes? Developmental anatomy is also covered in this book. Usually, unfortunately, we don't get too into depth into the developmental anatomy. Sometimes we'll throw a little bit of info in there, but we tend to shortchange the developmental part of the systems just so we can get through all the material we need to get through. But that's also included in this textbook as well. Physiology, how things work. We're going to systematically go through each of the systems and how each system works to help maintain homeostasis in the human body. What the heck does that mean? Balance, equilibrium. You're like a fine-tuned machine. Yes? I just got a new car. It's snappy. It's called the Honda Cross Tour. Ever see one? Snappy. But what if that fine-tuned machine has something that goes wrong, like, I don't know, the tires fall off? Is it going to work properly? No. Or the electrical system goes. Is the machine totally going to work properly? No. So you, like my lovely new car, are a fine-tuned machine. So we're going to talk about each of the systems that helps keep you running properly and maintaining homeostasis, which is different boundaries that you must maintain in your body to keep you running properly. What happens if I don't put any oil in the cross tour? It doesn't like me. Yes? Will it run properly? No. And my husband will probably get really mad. No gas. Am I going anywhere? No. So you also need all of your systems to work properly so that you can perform the way you're supposed to. So those are topics in physiology. Structure and function will also be part of the course, and the different levels of organization is where we'll begin. The textbook is written in this order. So you'll notice chapter 1, we're going to learn a lot of the language of anatomy. Chapter 2, guess what that's going to be? Don't even look at the thing. What do you think the chapter 2 is going to be? No. Chemical. So that's the smallest building block of you. Yes, the dirty word chemistry will come up in chapter 2. Don't panic, though. Chemistry is your friend and will come up throughout this entire course. We are going to learn it on a very basic level, so do not be afraid. But that is the first level of organization, the chemical level, your smallest building blocks. What's this made of? Those building blocks. But they're arranged in different ways and put together in different ways. Is this living? Why isn't it living? Well, yeah, parts of it used to be living. It's dead now. Why? Because it got cut down. Let's use something else. This. It's not made of something that really defines us as living organisms. No, there's carbon and probably maybe carbon in there. Cells! Very good! Cells is chapter 3. That's the next level of organization. So when I talk about the smallest living unit, cells is going to be the answer to that question. What are cells made of? Atoms, elements, chemicals. You see the difference? But you cannot be considered living unless you have some sort of organized cell. And cells range, a huge range on this planet, as we know of right now, from very simple with prokaryotic organisms to very complex with eukaryotic organisms. And guess what kind of organism you are? Eukaryotic organisms. So you have very complex, highly organized cells that make you up. So that's the next level of organization. So what's next? Look at the diagram. Work with me here, folks. So next in line, as far as organization goes, is tissues. So we're going to take those cells, and not every single cell looks the same or has the same function. And we're going to bring them together to make larger groups of cells, sometimes different ones, to create something called a tissue. So tissues are groups of cells that perform certain functions for the human body. And sometimes, if I take a whole bunch of different types of tissues, and guess what chapter tissues is? You got it. And bring them together and create this big, huge thing, I've created an organ. And that's the rest of the book. Now, organs are not typically functioning on their own. Usually they're part of several different organs that create some sort of something in the body. System, exactly. So, give me an example of a system. Cardiovascular is a system. What does it consist of? A heart, arteries, veins, capillaries. That's the cardiovascular system. See the difference? Whole bunch of different types of cells performing different functions, all to help you maintain what? Homeostasis. Yes? Good. And then we'll see how those systems keep us functioning as an organism. So, the human organism then, in order to maintain life, has to perform some certain very necessary life functions. Anything come to mind? We have to breathe, don't we? We also have to do something that's extremely important, believe it or not, and we have to maintain our boundaries. Maintain boundaries. You know what system's very important in helping you maintain your boundary from you? Yeah, the integumentary system. I can't just have my organs flying around willy-nilly, yes? I have to somehow wrap me all up as an organism to keep me intact so I can function as an organism. So it's important that we as organisms maintain boundaries so that we can function in our environment. We cannot stick our feet in the ground and suck breakfast from the dirt, can we? So we have to go get breakfast, or hunt breakfast, or go to Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast, yes? So what do we have to do to get there? We need to move as an organism. Now, some organisms don't move. Can you name some? Oh, yes, they move. Trees move. Yeah. That coral is the base for a bunch of organisms. But a lot of organisms, living organisms, must move. Some don't move a whole heck of a lot, like plants, but they move in order to get everything they need to help maintain them as an organism. If you've ever watched one of those sped up, I can't think of the name of it, proper name, but those time-lapse films of leaves in the sunlight, they move. They move quite a bit. Again, they don't move so fast, but they move. We have to be able to respond to our environment in order to survive in our environment. And you live in Maine, if you haven't figured that one out yet. So, middle of December, probably not a good idea to wear the bikini out, yes? Why? You would freeze, yes? Huh? Yes, frostbite, not good. So I don't wear my bikini out in the middle of December because I live in Maine. And and I don't wear a bikini ever. You'll be happy to know. But I have to be able to respond to my environment to protect me. So in the wintertime, I have to be able to know that it's cold outside so I can do what? Keep me, the warm-blooded organism, at that, maintain that constant body temperature. So I have to be able to respond to my environment in order to survive in my environment. Hand in hand that goes with this, I need to be able to respond to stimulus in my environment. So if I take this clicker box right now, oh, made a noise, and I throw it at your head, what are you going to do? You're going to do a little matrix move, aren't you? Why? Because otherwise that would hurt, yes? So I have to be able to respond to my environment to protect me from damage. Not only temperature, but physical damage. When I go to the stove and I forgot I left the burner on, have you ever done that? I hate those electric stoves. Yeah, you need to respond to that quickly, otherwise what's going to happen? A great deal of damage to you as an organism. So responsiveness is very important in humans to survive in their environment. Digestion and metabolism, another thing that kind of goes hand in hand. What's digestion for? Breaking big things into small things. And one of our systems is designed specifically to do that, and we were nice enough to name it the digestive system. Yes? Metabolism. Now we take the parts that we got in the digestive process, and what do we do with it? We use them. We use those building blocks to make stuff. What do we have to make? We have to make energy, ATP. Cellular respiration is part of metabolism. What else might I need to make? Anybody work out? You're constantly building muscles. Old muscle gets broken down. Not muscle cells, but muscle fibers within those cells. How about epithelial cells? You know what those are? That's the stuff that covers your whole body. Watch. Ready? Just flicked them all over you. So I'm constant. If I could see me at a cellular level, it would be like Pigpen walking down the hall. And I hope I'm not dating myself. Does everybody know who Pigpen is? Yeah, little Charlie Brown cartoons, that little dirty boy. Well, that's you. You're constantly regenerating cells, growing new ones, getting rid of old ones. And in order to build them, you need the building blocks to do that. So that's what metabolism is all about. All right, you lucky son of a guns, I didn't finish chapter 1. So what I need you to do on your own is memorize all of the systems you see on page 6 and on page 7 in your textbook. All of those guys for next class. The systems, what they do, and whatever parts are listed there. I'm not sure there's too many parts listed there. But basically, what's their function? What are these systems for? Why are they important for us as humans? No. See, I scared you. Now I'm being nice. So, but I want you to at least get that far. Make sure you read the rest of the chapter, because we are going to finish the chapter, and we're probably going to start chapter 2. So be ready for that on Thursday. Make sure, did everybody sign the thing? You need to sign the, where'd it go? Blue clipboard, bring it up. Bring it up, and make sure you sign it.